Basketball, a game of giants. When he had to, he knew all the tricks.
Nobody can pass that ball through the heart of the line. 6. You want to put on a show here.
Here we go. Yeah. Episode number 20. Welcome back, boys and girls, to Lakerland. 7 Mitchell, I'm in the building. Shout out to the Lakerland team, Hank, BA, and Code. As always, man, salute to Laker Nation, man. We definitely got a lot to talk about here on this podcast episode. Thank you, everyone, for pulling up. It's going to be an interesting one. Episode number 20 here in the offseason for Lakerland. Joining us today, we have a special guest. We have founder and host of the Sportstown Network. We have JJ Peters rejoining us here on Lakerland. JJ, what's the word, brother?
Not much. Thanks again for having me on, Seven. Can't wait to talk. Free agency right around the corner, so excited. And then after that, we're gonna have a little bit of a dead period, but I'm ready for free agency. That's where the excitement starts. So
it really is, bro. It's just so many storylines and narratives to talk about. Not so much just for the Lakers, just for the NBA as a community. So this has always been July is always an exciting time for the NBA community as a whole. We got an interesting show for you guys again today. So make sure y'all smash that like button, subscribe here to the Lakerland platform if you guys are new. So if you see on today's menu, man, we got a full plate. We got to talk about D'Lo, Jackson Hayes. Decisions have been made. We're going to talk about that as well. We're also going to lock in what JJ Peters had just alluded to. What's next for the Lakers? We got to talk about free agency. We're going to recap the trade, the NBA draft. We're also going to dip and dive into a little bit of possible trades that the Lakers could kind of get into for this offseason, as well as player development. What's going to be the biggest challenge for JJ Redick going into this upcoming season for the Lakers? Who runs the Lakers as an organization? We definitely got to talk about it. Is it LeBron? Is it Rob Pelinka? Is it Jeannie Buss? Who is actually running the team? We definitely are going to be having to break this thing down. So make sure you guys, again, smash that like button as we get things started. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Bit is in the building. Bit, I see you. We got Big Baby. Jonathan is in the building. Jonathan, salute to you guys, man. Shout out to y'all. Hope everything is doing good with you guys. Make sure y'all subscribe to my guy, Jonathan, at Big Baby Sports on YouTube. But JJ, it's time to go ahead and get the show started. First of all, let's start off, I guess, with your thoughts on the draft. Most notably, Bronny James going 55th in the second round to the Los Angeles Lakers. What was your reaction when the Lakers opted to pick Bronny?
I wasn't surprised. I kind of expected them to take him at 50. Was it 55 or 56? There was thought that he would go in the first round, and I think he was more of a second round talent or second round grade. I did think it was interesting when Rich Paul said like a day before where if he's not drafted by the Lakers, he's going to play in Australia. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised. I do think, though, Bronny needs a little more time to develop. I thought he should have went to high school another year or two. I understand LeBron only has about 2 or 3 years left, but I thought he should have went 1 year of college. But I wasn't surprised that he was drafted. I just think he needs a little more time to develop, especially with what happened last year. So not surprised, but we'll see what happens with Bronny. Might surprise us, but I just think he needs a little more time.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. You know, Bronny definitely needs more time to develop. You know, the NBA is such a fast-paced type of game, but I think in the scheme of things, he's going to get just that. This is not a situation that I expect him to have to actually play real-time minutes immediately. He's definitely going to be getting catered to not be on that basketball court until he's ready. So I believe, even though he's been drafted, you know, the whole G League, that whole experience is really geared for, you know, this type of situation. So I think when we talk about him needing more reps, more time, You know, there is nothing like playing in game. I will admit that, but just day in, day out practicing with staff, you know, your teammates, other guys who are, you know, very competitive. He's going to get his fair share of work in the next couple months. So, and throughout the regular season as a whole, do you expect to see Bronny on the basketball court with his father in this rookie year?
Because the NBA is so long, I think we will see a little bit of it. What I think is going to happen early on is they're probably going to put Bronny in the G League for a bit and kind of have him as a two-way player where he plays in the G League / the Lakers. But I think we'll eventually see it. We won't see it right away, but I do think we will see it because the NBA is so long. It probably won't happen until later, or at least the middle of the season. But I think he's going to start playing with the G League at first. I think it's the South Bay Lakers or something like that.
Yep.
But I think he'll play a little bit with his father, but I think we're going to see him with the G League first.
Shout out to my brother from another. K Doze is in the live chat. He says nepotism. James, man, this has definitely been a topic of conversation, you know, since this happened. JJ Peters, the whole nepotism thing. I feel like that has been throughout the Lakers organization throughout time, from Dr. Buss to his son to Jeannie Buss. Kurt Rambis and his wife are currently in the front office working. You had Shaquille O'Neal, whose son went undrafted a couple years ago, but the Lakers wound up, you know, signing him to their G League team. I think, you know, Shaq definitely played a role in that. So nepotism isn't new to the Lakers nor the NBA. Do you have a problem or do you feel like this is a situation where Bronny really did not deserve to be here and he only got it because of his name?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Bronny James has a lot of talent, but at the same time, was he worth getting drafted? Yeah, that's debatable. We won't really know until after a few years. But if you think about it, like nepotism is almost in everything almost, especially in sports, especially in the NBA, happens in the NFL a lot with coaches. It happens almost everywhere. I think it still remains to be seen if he deserved to be drafted, but I could see both ways. Nepotism is in everything almost, like pretty much everything. It's especially in sports, but I mean, yeah, the Lakers, you just mentioned it. I mean, Jeannie Buss is the owner because her father was the owner, right? And of
her
course,
brother was first. It went down from the father to the brother to her. You know, all in-house, all internal.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, like I said, you can say nepotism is almost everything. I don't know if it's a lot of the times it's not deserved, but I mean, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and that's especially in sports. So I think it's a little early, but we'll see if he deserved to be drafted or not.
Now, Bob Myers, who currently works for ESPN, he's the former GM of the Golden State Warriors. He talked about how his approach would be to Bronny James if he was to be coaching him. He said that he would be extra tough or extra hard on Bronny James behind the scenes or in the locker room, just to establish that Bronny is here not just because of his name, for a reason. Do you feel like JJ Redick needs to go at Bronny James extra, or when he does something wrong, really highlight stuff like that?
That's debatable as well. I don't think Redick's going to be super hard on Bronny. I think if someone is hard on Bronny, it's going to be his father, Lebron. I just can't see JJ Redick going all on Bronny because it doesn't seem like that's going to be what Redick's going to want to do. And I don't think Bronny's going to start either. I think he's not going to play a whole lot, at least the first half of the season. So I don't think he should necessarily go hard on him at first. But I think once he gets more playing time, once he gets more caught up with the system and stuff like that, I think that's when he needs to get hard on him. But I can't see it right away just because I think it's going to be on LeBron at first. So
yeah, no doubt. I honestly don't expect to see Bronny on the basketball court no time soon unless something crazy happen. My thing that I just don't like about this, and it's expected because of who we're talking about, is just these type of storylines and narratives that are being created already. Like they're talking about when we talk about the nepotism, they're saying that people in the locker room, the Lakers locker room, are going to have a problem with Bronny James being there. it's just so much extra stuff that I feel like is unwarranted. We just talked about JJ Redick. Should he be tough on Bronny when he makes mistakes and things like that? Like, to me, that's just so bogus. When you look at the makeup of who LeBron Senior has been for 20 years, always coming to the gym early, leaving late, always prepared. Like, everything that you gotten from LeBron Senior, you're going to get from his son. Bronny is not lazy. Bronny is not going to be late to meetings and late to practice. So there is no extra reason for JJ Redick to be so extra hard or to make an example. Like, Bronny isn't that type of player. And I hate that I'm watching mainstream media paint that real narrative that could happen to some players on a kid like Bronny when we know he don't even get down like that. His father has never shown that type of energy or behavior or lack of preparation in 20 years. And, you want more for your kid than yourself. No matter how good you are, you want better for your kid. So, LeBron Sr. is going to be locked in, making sure that Bronny crosses all his T's and dot his I's. Not so much scoring and playing the basketball, the game off the court. I don't think Bronny's going to have any issue.
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, I think why the media's talk about this is because it's LeBron, it's his kid. And of course it gets clicks, it gets views, and they have to have some type of opinion because, it gets clicks and views and makes them more mainstream and gets them something to talk about. I think that's a number one thing. And yeah, I think it's going to be more on Bron to basically get on Bronny. And plus JJ Redick's going to have other things to worry about than with Bronny and stuff like that. I think he's just going to have other stuff to worry about, especially with it being his first coaching job. So,
well, some news came down the pipeline today. Lakerland. Let's start with the top of the top. DAngelo Russell shot out to D'Lo. It looks like D'Lo has decided to pick up that $18.7 million player option for his last year under his contract, and DAngelo Russell will be returning to the Los Angeles Lakers to give it one more go. He said he's very interested to see, how well he progresses under the tutelage of JJ Redick. Jackson Hayes, the young big man from the Lakers, he also opted in this morning, I believe, or maybe it was late last night. So those are two instrumental pieces I believe that the Lakers would need. They got him at least for one more year. What's your thoughts really about D'Lo returning? Because there was a question if D'Lo was going to leave or not. What's your thoughts about DAngelo Russell staying?
So I'm not surprised he's coming back. I think that it was better for him to stay because the Lakers needed that type of point guard. Russell at times can be really good and at times can be non-existent. That's kind of the concern with DAngelo Russell. Like one night he can have 30 points and the other night you can't even find him, right? But I think the Lakers needed to bring him back because they needed that type of point guard. Who else are you going to bring in free agency? I think if they would have lost Russell, they would have probably either had to make a trade or signed a player not as good as DAngelo Russell. So I don't think the Lakers had much of a choice. So I think that was a nice pickup for the Lakers to bring him back. So.
Yeah, I think they lucked out in the short term to bring back DAngelo Russell. I like D'Lo. I would love to see him succeed here in the purple and gold, but you alluded to those times where he doesn't show up. And unfortunately for the purple and gold, those times have been in the April and in May, in the playoffs and the postseason when it counts the most. Mm-hmm. So we can't just afford to have DAngelo Russell going out here from November until March, showing us some type of giving us some type of hope. And then when the playoffs start, he's just nowhere to be seen because LeBron and Anthony Davis, even if available and healthy, they're not going to be able to win a championship alone. Those days are over. Yeah. So you're definitely going to need some help. So, I'm not sure about D'Lo when it counts the most. I am glad that he did opt back in for now. But I wouldn't be so surprised, bro, if before the trade deadline or maybe before the All-Star break, they could, come up with a package, to possibly get rid of him. Maybe Trae Young could come in. There's a conversation. There's talks about LeBron James. He's going to opt out, JJ, it seems like. But there's also reports today that LeBron is going to actually consider taking less money. So with D'Lo opting in, and if LeBron takes less money, that will allow the Lakers to get a mid-level exception player in free agency. Then they could always spin the block with D'Lo in a couple months and make a trade if needed. So I don't know. I like the fact that he's back for now. I'm just not sold that this is the actual recipe for success at the end of the day. But maybe JJ Redick can get this thing going. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Trae Young. It seems like the Hawks have been trying to get rid of him for a long time, but then on Friday they moved, or yesterday, yeah, it was yesterday, moved on from DeJounte Murray and didn't get a whole lot in return for that trade. So I don't know what the Hawks are doing. I know they just had the number 1 pick, but they got the number 1 pick in one of the worst drafts, or one of the least loaded drafts, I should say. So the troll Trae Young thing, I don't know what the Hawks are doing, honestly, because, and I wouldn't be surprised if Trae Young just ends up returning to Atlanta on a massive deal. The Hawks are a hard team to figure out.
They could be blowing it up or preparing to blow it up. I wouldn't be surprised if they move Trae Young as well. I was a little bit disappointed to see DeJounte Murray go to New Orleans, and especially what they gave up, what they had to give up to get him. Larry Nance Jr., I'm like, what? When it came to the Lakers, they were asking for Rui draft picks. I'm like, bro, what is going on? So, that was definitely interesting to see. I like Trae Young. I don't know how he would fit with LeBron and AD.
Yeah, he's not technically your true point guard because he's more of a shooter than more of a ball handler. But the whole Trae Young,
which the Lakers need shooting.
They do.
You know.
Yeah. That would be interesting to see what happens if Trae Young, say, would go to the Lakers. It would be interesting how he would fit. But I don't know. I feel like that's a whole. I just don't know with the Trae Young. It's super confusing. I don't know what Atlanta's going to do, honestly, with Trae Young.
So Lakerland, JJ, as of today, this is the Lakers roster. I want to know, does this roster sound like a team that could go back to the playoffs next year? So at the center position, Lakerland and JJ, we have Anthony Davis, Christian Wood, and now Jackson Hayes locked back in. Those are the 5s. Power forward, we pretty much got Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, if you want to put those at the 2 4s. The 3s, we got LeBron. Max Christie is very critical because he is going to be a restricted free agent. They are trying to, hopefully that money that LeBron could free up by him taking a discount could help the whole Max Christie deal. They have Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect was the number 17th pick in the first round. Shout out to him. Jalen Hood-Schifino, now Bronny James, Austin Reeves, and DAngelo Russell, as well as Gabe Vincent. Does that sound like a team to you right now on paper, JJ, that could go back to the playoffs as constructed?
It does. This Lakers team seems like right now, if they wouldn't make any moves, and this would be the exact lineup, which we know it's not, they're going to make a ton of moves over the next few months. But this team seems like it's going to be anywhere between the 5 and 8 seed, kind of like they were last year. But the West is stacked. You have to remember that. But at the same time, you have LeBron, you have Davis. As long as they're healthy and you have, for the most part, a good DAngelo Russell, this team seems like it's kind of a borderline between 5 and 8 seed, somewhere around there.
I don't know, man. I mean, now that they've got D'Lo back, I'm pretty sure LeBron is going to come back. I'm confident that the Lakers won't fall far from grace. But again, like, I'm just not going to be measuring this team really until, but it's hard because I don't want to measure this team until the second half of the season. Once, I really want to start measuring this Lakers team now. But we've seen in years past, the Lakers really cannot afford to start the season off slow and lose games that they shouldn't win, because that's why they wind up in this play-in scenario every year by 1 or 2 games, because of games that they should have won at the beginning that they, played down to level of competition and stuff like that. So I don't really know how this is going to work out for JJ Redick and these Los Angeles Lakers. On paper with this roster, uh, I'm a little bit impressed how it has filled out over the last week. But it's the same thing from last year.
Mm-hmm.
What improvements have we made?
So the Lakers really haven't made a whole lot of improvements so far. But it just feels like every year we're talking about this where they don't make a whole lot of moves early on, and then toward the end they do. And the last, 2 or 3 years, they've gotten the number 7 seed, or the last 3 of the last 4 years. So that's why I'm kind of thinking what's going to happen again. I understand the West is getting a lot younger, or most teams in the West are getting a lot younger, and the Lakers seem like they're getting either the same age or getting older. But it feels like every year, though, the last 3 of the 4 years, they've been that 6th or 7th seed. And I feel like that's what they're going to get right now. That seems like what the team's going to be again going into next season. So that's kind of what I think about this team.
Right. As we get into the summer, as you talked about, free agency is about to start in a few days. Do you see the Lakers making any big free agent moves? They really don't have a lot of money to play with, to be honest. So there is no box office names that I think is going to be able to come into play right now for the Lakers. Do you see them making any noise in free agency?
What I could see them making, I don't know if they would necessarily make noise, but I could see them getting a few players who can shoot, can get some role players, get some players off the bench. Because if you remember that 2020 team that won the title, they had Bron and Davis. You had some veteran leadership like Rajon Rondo, even guys like Avery Bradley. But then you had also a bunch of guys, role players like Alex Caruso. You had KCP. You had all that. You had a good combination. And I think they need to make a few of those moves. I don't know if they can, because this free agency class seems like it's really stacked. And then after that, it kind of falls off. But I could see them signing some players, some good bench players, some role players, some shooters is especially what they need. And I think I could see them making a few of those moves as well. But yeah, they don't have a whole lot of cap, so you can't really make that blockbuster trade. And I don't think they really should either.
Let me ask you this, JJ, because JJ Redick doesn't have his coaching staff together yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that play out? How fast do you think he needs to get his staff together before we get into free agency?
Well, he's been the coach for about a week now, because I think it was last Thursday he got hired. I did hear he wanted a lot of experienced coaches and guys that were former head coaches. I did hear that he was looking into hiring like Stan Van Gundy or someone like that. I don't think that's the best move, but he was thinking about hiring him. Yeah. But I don't know necessarily that would be, I think right now, I think they're more focused on free agency than they are at hiring assistant coaches, because it's not like most of the coaches that he wants are getting looks from other teams. I feel like the Lakers are going to go into free agency looking to sign players first, and then eventually adding to that coaching staff.
The Rondos of the world, the Sam Cassells of the world, they're probably not going to be going anywhere for the next month or two.
No.
They'll still, okay, I get it.
I'm a little surprised, though, Sam Cassell hasn't been hired as a head coach. He's been assistant for a long time. And I know there's the Pistons job is still open, but I feel like that's going to go to James Borrego. But it seems like he would rather just wait and be a head coach somewhere. But
now, Shaquille O'Neal spoke out. I really didn't read the whole thing, but Shaquille O'Neal has spoke out about Sam Cassell not being selected over JJ Peters. He didn't understand how JJ got the consideration over Sam Cassell, who has now 2 titles under his belt as a assistant, right?
I think so. I'm trying to remember the first place he was.
Well, I know he won. I know he won in Boston as a player, and he won in Boston this season. Yeah. I thought he won. He may only have one as an assistant, but I know he has 2 rings.
He wasn't in Denver last year, was he?
I don't know. Was he? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think Denver had an experienced assistant coach, but I don't know if that was Sam Cassell.
Was that? Oh, I'm not sure. But yeah, I feel like you're right. Maybe putting the staff together isn't so much of a big deal. We know at the end of the day, this thing is going to go through LeBron, Anthony Davis, JJ Redick, and those guys are already there. So nothing coming in is going to change anything as far as the trajectory, or at least the idea for the Lakers. So okay, cool. I do want to bring a trade proposal up as we move on into the show. Let me get your thoughts on this that I saw. This trade actually went through. DAngelo Russell, now that he's opt-in, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and Christian Wood, who recently opted in, to the Utah Jazz for both Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler. This deal was approved. Do you like it or not?
Well, I think it helps the Lakers a lot because it makes them younger, a lot younger. I just don't know. I feel like the Jazz would want some picks, knowing Danny Ainge. That's a good trade, but I feel like with Danny Ainge running the Jazz right now, I feel like he's going to want some picks in that trade. I think it's a good trade. I just think that, again, Danny Ainge and the Jazz, they have so many picks right now. He's going to want as many picks as possible. I know the Lakers don't have a whole lot, but he's going to want some type of picks. But the question, though, is what do the Lakers do at point guard then? Because then you trade Russell. That's another question, too, what you do. But it does make him a lot younger with the addition of Markkanen.
There is the chance, and I don't know if Lakerland is really sold on this thought or idea. I know I'm not totally sold on it. There is the chance that before this weekend is out, Golden State decides to waive Chris Paul, opts not to pay him his $30 million. Chris Paul could become available. He may take whatever to join LeBron. That could be a possibility. Worst case scenario with that would probably have to come later down the pipeline, especially now that D'Lo has opted in. I definitely don't see them still bringing in Chris Paul.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I think with Chris Paul, he's still going to want to require a decent chunk of money because he didn't really take a pay cut going to the Warriors, honestly, and he came off the bench. He most of the time doesn't take a pay cut, so that'd be kind of a problem. And I know right now he's getting older or he's gotten a lot older and he's not the same type of player. He's more of kind of just a bench player now, but I feel like a team is going to have to open their pocketbooks a little bit for Chris Paul still.
No doubt. JJ, what would you say is the biggest challenge upcoming for JJ Redick as the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers? There's a lot that he's going to have to tackle and unfold in these next couple months, but what would you just say off the top is going to be JJ Redick's biggest challenge?
I think it's pretty obvious right now. I think experience with JJ Redick. I know you don't have to have a whole lot of experience, and he did play in the NBA for 15 seasons, but that still matters in today's game. And you've seen a lot of coaches or a lot of players transition to being a coach, and it takes them a little bit. I know there's some guys that have had success, but guys like Jason Kidd struggled early on. Derek Fisher struggled early on. Steve Nash really struggled. I think that's going to be the big thing with JJ Redick. And I understand he has a great relationship with LeBron, but the question is how long can they exist with each other? Sorry about that.
Yeah. You're right.
But I just think experience is such a big thing in the NBA. It's still a huge, like, chemistry is still really big. Just look at what happened to the Suns last year. But I just think that Redick's going to needs a whole lot of experience, and the adjustments I don't think are going to be a huge problem for JJ Redick, but I just think, again, I keep on saying it, but it's going to be experience for Redick.
For me, JJ, I think the biggest challenge for JJ Redick this season is going to be the ability to balance. I feel like there's going to come a time where he's going to be caught in the middle of this 2-on-2 battle with Jeannie and Rob and LeBron and AD, because their focus, even though everything seems good right now, their focus and their direction of the short future is different. Jeannie and Rob is focusing on the future as far as growth and development. LeBron and Anthony Davis is looking to win right now. So with JJ Redick stuck in the middle, you brought up the relationship with LeBron James, the podcast. A lot of people feel like JJ got the job because of LeBron. At the end of the day, LeBron doesn't sign the checks. Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, those are the ones who bred the butter of JJ Redick. So he's going to have a real tough, I'm not going to say a tough time, but I think his biggest challenge is going to just to be able to identify that, hey, LeBron, this is not about loyalty. I got to put myself over all of that. He has to really identify himself as kind of, being neutral, because I think he is going to be put in a unique position if the Lakers start off slow. So I just think stability is going to be his biggest challenge as far as getting the respect, because he could potentially get caught in the middle of how the players feel like this team should go versus what Rob Pelinka would like this team to go in the near future.
Yeah. And I understand we were talking about free agency just a second ago, but there was a few times, or not a few times, when listening to JJ Redick's podcast, the one player he really loved and talked about a lot was Derek White. And I believe Derek White's a free agent. I know he's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of money, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers try to go after Derek White, because JJ Redick really likes Derek White. And that's another guy that I think we're forgetting about in free agency. So,
do you think that the JJ Redick pick was a good pick? There's not a lot of high profile names that was out there, but do you have a problem with JJ Redick being hired in the first place?
I wasn't surprised he was hired. I think he needs more experience. I thought he should have been an assistant coach for a few more years. I understand there were some problems with Darvin Ham, but I thought the Lakers should have kept at least gone one more year with Darvin Ham and maybe had Redick as an assistant. I just think that Redick, I think you need just more experience. I think you need to be an assistant coach for a few years. And that's kind of my concern with Redick and my problem. So I just think he needs more assistant. I think the Lakers should have rolled with Ham for one more year. I know LeBron didn't want that, but I feel like Redick needed to be assistant before he could be a head coach.
Right. Lakerland, y'all let us know in the live chat and in the comment section, what is going to be the biggest challenge to you for JJ Redick this upcoming season? Because there's definitely a lot that he's going to have to face in the offseason as well as in season. What's going to be the biggest challenge to you guys, man? This is Lakerland episode 20. We are definitely in the building. Make sure you guys smash that like button for us. If you guys are new to the platform, subscribe to the channel. Also, join the Lakerland membership here on our YouTube channel as low as 99 cents. We have members only content for our members, as well as special discounts on merchandise. We got perks, prizes, and giveaways available. So support the platform, become a member of the Lakerland platform. Definitely appreciate the support. We got JJ Peters in the building, man. We moving on to the podcast, man. Next topic up for discussion. Who runs the Lakers? JJ? I did a reaction video yesterday, about maybe a little over 24 hours ago, on Ed Lover and his thoughts about Bronny James being drafted by the Lakers and how LeBron has got JJ Redick on the team. And he was saying that LeBron got all this power and LeBron is the one who run the Lakers. This video that I put out, man, got me over 100,000 views. I'm not going to say over 100, damn near 100,000 views in 24 hours on a couple different platforms. Who do you think run the Lakers? Because a lot of things have been appeased for LeBron this year alone. Who runs the Lakers?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. I think LeBron runs most of the Lakers. And when he went to the Lakers back in 2018, that was kind of a thing. He was going to run the Lakers right away. That's why the Lakers, I think LeBron mostly runs the Lakers. I think Pelinka and Jeannie Buss do a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's Bron that runs the team, because does Bronny get drafted? Does JJ Redick get hired? Do they even make the trade for Anthony Davis 4 or 5 years ago if it wasn't for Bron? I just think that wherever, and again, that's the thing, wherever Bron goes to, he wants to run that team. And that's why he left Miami, in my opinion, to go back to Cleveland so he could run it. So I think it's pretty obvious who runs it. I think, again, Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka do make some decisions, but at the end of the day, it comes to LeBron.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just defining this thing differently than most, because I feel like influence is different from running the show. I definitely believe LeBron James have great influence on the decision making of the organization. Why not? He's proven he's a champion. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. So I do believe his influence, his decision, his opinion is probably received throughout everything. But I don't believe that LeBron James run this Lakers team. I disagree. I still think at the end of the day, Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss, whether it's a good move or a bad move, they're going to make the final say. You know, the thing with LeBron and, you know, his son coming into the fold and JJ Redick coming into the fold, to the outside in, this looks weird to people, but the Lakers have always appeased to their superstars. I talked about what they did to Shaquille O'Neal. They did the same thing as far as Kobe with money. They did the same thing for Kobe Bryant, and Kobe wasn't even on the basketball court. Kobe was out injured in his last days, and they paid him more than he's ever gotten paid. So the Lakers have shown, I mean, and look what, you know, Dr. Buss did for Magic. They're going to take care of their superstars. So I definitely can respect that and appreciate that. But I just feel like if LeBron ran this team, there wouldn't have been no 17th pick. Bronny maybe, but that first round pick, Dalton Connect, that would have never happened. They would have gotten that pick and created some package to get a third star, because that's what him and Anthony Davis look like they want to do. So I do feel like there's some disconnect right there. I do think LeBron has major influence on the decision making. He should. He's earned that. But I don't feel like he runs that team. But you know, that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, that's a good point. You people always kind of forget about when Kobe was with the Lakers and Shaq was with the Lakers, and you know, even Magic was with the Lakers. We forget about that, and that's actually a really good point. But I mean, it's also interesting to see if what they would have done with that 17th pick if they didn't take Dalton Connect, if they would have made some type of trade or something like that. But we'll never know. But it'd be interesting to see what they would have done with it.
And I don't want to go off the deep end and make it seem like all LeBron James decision making is right, because as much as we credit and praise his basketball IQ and his intelligence, when you think about it, some of the decisions that LeBron James have either stamped, requested, or green lighted has come back to bite the teams in their butt. Russell Westbrook, you know, the Darvin Ham effect. I mean, you can go back, like they call him the GM. You know, he's had his little Michael Jordan moments, you know, when it comes to being a general manager and decision making and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit surprised for that reason alone. But like Danny from LA said in the chat, LeBron he doesn't run this team. I just feel like his influence will give you the impression that it does because they listen to him. But why not? He has painted the blueprint of how to win.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 4 championships. You can't argue with that.
You know, and just going 11 times to the finals. You know, I think 8 times in a row at one point, something like that. Like, come on. You know, that in 3 different destinations.
Yeah,
we may not never ever see that again. So
yeah,
you know.
and organizations with completely different, you know, just completely different
every year
wants and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Even down to having to deal with Golden State, that one Golden State team for a window of 4 years, 3-4 years. It wasn't the same Golden State Warriors team. They had to get Kevin Durant for half of that, you know, and so big adjustment for LeBron to have to face in Cleveland. Last but not least, here on the Lakerland show, like I said, this was going to be a real quick, brief one. But grading Rob Pelinka, it's early. I know free agency hasn't even begun. But just looking at how active Rob has been and the decision that has been made, including, you know, getting Dalton Connect in the 17th and Bronny in the 55th, What type of report card grade, JJ, would you give Rob Pelinka so far for his job in this offseason?
Sorry about that. My camera's
No,
not
no, you
working.
good, bro.
But
That's fine.
so far, I think it's a little too early. But if we're grading like 1 through 5, I'd probably give him about a 2 or 2.5, just because I think it's still a little too early. I know Dalton Connect was a good draft pick, but I don't know. I feel like I still need to see more from Rob Pelinka. And I understand he doesn't have a whole lot of. It's still very early in the offseason, but
So if you had to give him a report card grade, are you giving him a C or a D?
I'd probably go with more of a C with Pelinka.
Okay.
But I think it's still way too early. We'll see what they do. Bringing back Russell was a nice addition. Drafting Dalton Connect was what they needed. They needed a shooter. But I think right now, until they really sign someone that really can affect the team right away, I'm going to still grade him a C at the moment.
I'm going to give Rob a B for now. I think the grade for me changed from today to yesterday because Jackson Hayes is now bought in. DAngelo Russell is officially bought in. So now when I'm looking at this roster, what we have to play with, I feel a little bit more good. I would actually give Rob Pelinka a B because I feel like from the jump, he's done a lot of different things. He's been active. That's number one. He hasn't been lazy. He hasn't been sitting on his hands. That's number one. Number two, he's done what he needed to do to, try to appease LeBron James in his last days. They offered him the max, $50 million over the next 350 plus over the next 3 years. They drafted Bronny James. So he's being active as far as looking at the roster, the personnel. He's appeasing to his superstar. They let it be known that Anthony Davis' opinion is going to be way more valued. So I think they did an interesting job with that. They brought in an interesting coach in JJ Redick. JJ Redick is looking to implement like a phone app that's going to help some of the young Laker players to communicate and, deal with the playbook and stuff. So we got a lot of new creative next generation ideas that JJ Redick is trying to bring into play. So I have been impressed with Rob Pelinka's activeness. I don't think he's made any bad moves so far. Like you said, it is really early. We haven't really even gotten into free agency yet, but they don't have a lot of money to play with. So I don't really see Rob Pelinka being able to do anything of significance other than maybe filling a void or two in free agency. I don't think it's like that. If the buck was to stop here, I'm pretty impressed so far with Rob, what he got going on. I think moving forward, it would be just about trading who you got, shifting some pieces around. But I've been kind of impressed. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But, shout out to you guys here at Lakerland. We just lost my brother, JJ Peters. He just had a little technical issue, but it is all good. I think I got him back real quick before we sign off. But we are about to sign off here, episode 20 here of the Lakerland Show. Again, man, 7 Mitchell, I'm in the building. Shout out to my guys, Hank, B.A., and Cole. We got some NBA Jeopardy we're going to be playing here on Lakerland in the next few days. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and the platform. We got a couple interesting things and projects we're going to be bringing to you guys coming up this week. So y'all already know how we do, man. It's never going to stop here on Lakerland. Before we get up out of here, JJ, you back with us on the audio side?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. Just had some audio difficulties here. So
it's all good, bro. You already know how we do, man. Let the people know where they can follow you at, though, brother, before we sign off for today.
Yeah, no problem. So, yeah, you can just find me at Sportstown Network. You could also look me up at Sportstown Podcast, but I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on Twitter, not as active as I used to be, but you can also find me there as well. But I'm usually uploading content every day, sports like basketball, football, baseball, all that good stuff. I also have a website you can check out, that sportstownnetwork.com. I have merch. I do some blogs and stuff like that. So go check that out. I'm really excited. So, yeah, just releasing content almost every day. So mostly YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And you can also check out my website at sportstownnetwork.com.
Most definitely, man. Make sure y'all go check out my brother JJ and show support. Subscribe to his platforms, man. He puts in that work, all sports 24/7. This is where I get my updates from when we talk about the NFL, Major League Baseball, boxing. He covers it all consistently. I don't know how. This is a one-man army we dealing with JJ Peters. I don't know how he do it, but he does it, and he does it great. So shout out to him and Sportstown platform. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe. I'm about to get up out of here, man, and get my weekend started. Again, shout out to everybody in Lakerland. Y'all let us know what your thoughts is about D'Lo opting back in, Jackson Hayes opting back in. That was a big deal. I do want to also get your guys' thoughts on, the Lakers drafting Dalton Connect as well as Bronny James in the NBA draft, and who runs this Lakers organization. Because I got to talk to the bosses. Is it LeBron? Is it Rob? Is it Jeannie? Y'all let us know, man. Lakerland, we are signing off. JJ, got to get you back, man, when we get this NBA Jeopardy game constructed, bro. So hopefully you can join us if I can get this thing going sooner or later so we can all get up on here and have a ball and see who knows some basketball.
Yep, can't wait. I'm definitely excited. I always love talking basketball, especially like history. So it's always fun.
For sure. So we're going to get to it. All right, Lakerland, appreciate you guys for kicking it with us this afternoon. Hope you guys enjoy y'all Saturday. Stay safe. Do us a huge favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the platform if you're new. Do not forget to become a member of this YouTube channel. Again, we have members only content for you guys. Also, discounts on special Lakerland merchandise, perks, prizes, as well as giveaways. Definitely come through and support the platform. Also, follow our Playback TV room for our live shows as well as our reaction parts here at playback.tv/Lakerland. Make sure y'all join us because we over there acting a fool ever so often, man. Seven Mitchell here. Shout out to B.A. Hank and Cole. We are signing off. Y'all stay safe. We are out. Peace.